Alright, what's up guys? We're going to be going through two NBA props for Friday, February 6th. But before that, since it's my first video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been posting bets to Twitter or X for a little over a year now. And so here's my account, Budford's Bets. You can go follow me on there. Here's a little bit about me. Top 5% better on Pickett's verified bet tracker. It's overall, we get top 5% NBA and top 10% in MLB. Alright. And so here's our recap from yesterday. We hit Duncan Robinson over 2.5 threes. Exclusive play for the VIP, we laddered that up to 3.5. Mark Williams, 8.5 rebounds. That cashed as well. We're actually 12-2 in our last 14 plays posted Twitter, so pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, now we're going to go over here to our spreadsheet. And we're going to start with 2025. This is from January 2025 to the end of the season. We went 116 and 87 for a total profit of 21.25 units. And now we go to 2026. This is from the start of 2026 to now, which is February 6th. And currently our total record is 148 and 106. In 2026, our profit is 12.38 units. And you see here, we got all the units tracked, and we're on a hot streak, right? So yesterday, 3 for 3 with the ladder. Day before that, we hit Jada McDaniels, Zubac, DMP. Day before that, this is our only non-profitable day in February, actually. And, we got a little unlucky here. Predicted the Wizards would get blown out by the Knicks, which they did. Tyler Kolek got extra minutes, but he went 1-7 from the field. MPJ didn't have from 3. Luka, he was scoring well, but the Nets got blown out because MPJ wasn't scoring. That's just how it goes. We had Nemhard on 2 units for the rebounds and assists, DMP. But here we go. Here's another profitable day. We got 3 for 3 Şengün. We got McDaniels, Concanupple, 2-unit play. We've hit 5 straight 2-unit plays, by the way. Day before that, this should have been a 2-0 day. But, I talked myself out of Jalen Brunson assists into the combo line. And, of course, he has like 13 assists. Couldn't hit the broadside of the barn. Kate Cunningham, he's been a wagon all year. 9.5 assists, easy cash. A lot of these plays, like, we're not just cashing, we're cashing easy. Right? So Andrew Nemhard, 11.5 rebounds, assists going back to the end of January. Here we go, Kate Cunningham, got him on the points. Keontae George, Anthony Black, and so we've been on a tear here. All right, and so I'm gonna take you through 2 props that I like for today, and let's get into it. All right, so first prop of the day, we got Jada McDaniels over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, he's been on fire lately. You just look at the numbers. He's hit 7 out of 10, averaging 24.3 PRA. He's got a great matchup here against the New Orleans Pelicans, who, they suck. Let's be honest here. And you just look at the defense. Spot up, 25th. Transition, 28th. That's 55% of his points from these 2 play types. You can look at the shot zones. 28th in ATV threes. 29th in the restricted area. It's 33%, 19%. All right, so perfect matchup for scoring. You just look at what he's been doing lately. He's been shooting the 3-ball really good. 50%, 29%, not great. But Bulls, 2 for 2. You look at the recent games, 1 for 3 against the Raptors, who are tough defense. At 5 of 7 against the Grizzlies, 3 of 5, 5 of 5. Right, and you look at his unders in this span. You get 26-point blowout, 25-point blowout, and we got another double-digit win here against the Mavericks. And so you might just want to go with the points, 14.5, but he's actually had games this season. Well, let's go back over to the points, rebounds, and assists. Ironically enough, one of these was against the Pelicans, where he goes under 15, but he still cashes because he's hitting the glass. He's getting those dimes. right? And Jaden McDaniels will do that. He'll get you some rebounds, he'll get you some assists, and being that he's not the main guy on the team, you know, are we really going to rely on him to be hitting 60% of his threes? Probably not. And something about Jaden McDaniels that I love is that when Ant or Randall is out, he gets a big bump in usage. Randall, he's been dealing with this nagging thumb injury. Will he play? Maybe. Will he not? Maybe. And the Wolves just traded for Ayo Dosunmu. Is he playing? Maybe. But ultimately, he's just been playing like really well lately. And this is a perfect matchup. Only concern here really is the blowout because the Pelicans suck, right? 11.5 points. Minnesota's at home. This could very easily be a blowout. But I mean, the way he's been cashing, I've taken him twice in the last week, right? I took him really the last 2 games just because Ant and Randall have been questionable. If either of those guys sits, this line is going to shoot way up. And so I'm going to go with Jaden McDaniels again. Alright, so the next play I've got for you guys is Andrew Nembhard over 26.5 points and assists. Now, I've already played this at 25.5, but the line's moved and now it's sitting right around 26.5. You see, these books are leaning under right now. We'll see what happens. Maybe it goes back down, maybe it doesn't. But I like it either way. Now, you see, they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks today, 1.5 point spread. The Bucks, not good, right? And so the season hit rate isn't amazing, right? But what just happened? Benedict Mathurin just got traded to the Clippers for Big Zoo, right? And so without Benedict Mathurin, here I'm going to show you his game log. And he's played 14 games without Benedict Mathurin in the lineup. And I've gone through all these game logs, and clearly his scoring goes up quite a bit. And he's actually covered in 10 out of 14 games without Benedict Mathurin, right? So that's a big plus. This ball's going to be in his hands more. He's going to be able to shoot. He's going to be able to score. And obviously, Nembhard's been great with the assists, but his line's up. Nowadays, it's at like 8.5. And, still like it. But without Mathurin, I think, he's going to need to score more. And he's done it in the past. As you look at the matchup with the Bucks, ball handler for the pick and roll, it's okay. It's okay. Spot up, great. They're 27th. Look at the shot zones, they're awful at. They can give up a lot of threes. Nembhard 38% above the break threes, another 20% in the mid range, where Milwaukee ranks bottom 10. And so this is just another guy who's been cashing a lot in the right matchups, right? The Pacers, they're not winning a lot of games this year. But when he does win, when the Pacers win, Nembhard is doing well, right? That's very correlated. The Pacers winning and Nembhard doing well, they go together. And obviously, this is a winnable matchup for the Pacers today against the Bucks. Without Giannis, they can win this game. So, no Benedict Mathurin, I think, is a big selling point here. So 1.5 point spread here. This should be a competitive game, right? Obviously, it's the National Blowout Association. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe the Bucks just come out and blow them out, but that's just part of the game, right? Just to hop over back to these stats without Mathurin. He's averaging, do a little quick math here. This is 27.9 points plus assists without Mathurin. The spread only at 1.5 points. That means it's probably going to be a competitive game. And when that happens, right, competitive game means starters play minutes. And when starters play minutes, they get more time to accumulate their stats. And so, minutes are really something you want to be keeping track of when you're making bets. Because obviously, if you can predict that kind of stuff, then you have a better idea of who's going to hit their lines, who's going under, who's going over. And so that's the kind of stuff you got to pay attention to. And so, all that said, Nembhard I think with a little bit of a bump in usage due to Mathurin being gone, I really like him in this spot against Milwaukee. Alright guys, that'll just about wrap it up for the video today. Those were my two favorite props for Friday, February 6th. Just to recap, it is Jaden McDaniels over 22.5 PRA and Andrew Nemhard over 25.5 or 26.5 points plus assists. If you guys want to follow me on X, it is x.com/budfordsbets. The write-ups get posted every morning, so you'll never miss a pick. You just follow me on X, turn on your notifications, and you'll get all the picks. So I will see you guys tomorrow.